Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. Coming to you from the Mushroom Kingdom, I'll be your host, Super Dave Trumbore. Joining me as always, it's one of the lesser known Luigi brothers, it's Sean Paul Ellis Luigi. How's it going, sir?
Oh, David. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty well myself, buddy. Also joining us tonight, he just can't seem to keep his mushroom out of my warp tunnel. It's Matt Barron. How are you tonight, buddy?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm doing great, but I feel like I need to consult a lawyer after what you just said. So,
Well, I'm just speaking the truth. Can't help it. You didn't like that?
all right,
You didn't like
all
that
right,
little
buddy.
throwback
Yeah,
to adult Super Mario Brothers?
Mm.
throwback Thursday to when it was ambiguously rapist.
Ambiguously
Mm.
rapist.
Mm.
Oh, we're getting
Now,
off to a start.
now I feel like we need to involve a legal department.
Now we might have to invest in one of those.
They can
Ugh.
have they can have 100% of our
Yeah,
profits.
feel free to click the donate button to send money to our legal department because we're gonna need it after this one.
Yeah, there you go.
If you couldn't tell by that weirdo introduction, we are talking Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and man, is this a weird one. We have talked about some really strange stuff on this show. I would go so far as to say this is the weirdest. I don't know how you guys feel, but this might be the weirdest thing we've watched
This
so
is.
far.
Do you think this is the weirdest, Dave?
As far as maybe not the show, like the cartoon version
Um,
itself, but the fact that they combine a live action intro with like commercial break live action stuff, random guest stars that come in, just the whole thing put together, the way it was structured, the fact that it was like four Super Mario episodes and one Zelda episode, it's just weird. Like everything all together, it just seems like this thing was just pasted together at the last second just to make a few bucks. But I'm gonna say it's the weirdest thing we've watched.
you know, I'm gonna say take the live action out.
Yep.
This is one of the best.
Wow, that is a bold statement.
Oh my God, the pendulum is swinging both ways on this one.
I'm telling you, man,
Wow.
this is gonna be a crazy episode.
Oh,
I don't
I
even
feel
know
like
where to
I
start.
feel like I'm the decider.
You might be. This is
Ooh,
why we
I
have
don't
three
even
on the
know.
show.
You guys are gonna have to sell me
Okay.
real hard on which way the pendulum should swing.
Free pizza for you.
Should swing?
Should
Oh,
swing. Swing. Free pizza for you
Swing, just swing.
for the rest of the year if you vote my way.
Sold.
Okay. Sorry, Matt. That's the end.
And you get
Ah.
absolutely nothing from me, Sean, if you vote my way.
I don't know
Well,
if you
Dave,
know how
I'm
this...
glad that I voted your way.
Yeah.
So this is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy about this.
Excellent. So
You get
yeah,
hope.
free pizza.
So we should. I do want to mention very briefly that there are multiple cartoons about the Mario Brothers.
Correct. Yeah.
And
That's
the
a good
Mario
disclaimer.
Brothers franchise. And so we are talking about the Super Mario Super Show.
Right.
And Matt is going to dive into a little bit more of the history, but this is not to be confused with
Anything good.
what was it? Super Mario World,
Right.
or the other cartoon that came directly after the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which was just the adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Which is just the weirdest,
Just
the weirdest kind of like
crazy,
most specific
crazy
title
title.
ever. Yeah.
It was real weird.
Yeah. Just a lot of foxtails and ears. For
I
a
don't
time.
know. I don't know if it's weird as it is just like, hey, look, this is in direct support of this video game and this franchise. You guys better get on board with it, otherwise this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Let's turn it over
Otherwise,
to
we're
Matt
gonna
for the
have to
history,
fall
though.
back on the Super Scope 6.
Ooh.
Or the Power Glove money,
Good old Power Glove money.
That sweet Power Glove.
or the
All right,
the
so the
sweet
history.
Power Pad money.
Power pad. Stomp that pad.
With your hands.
Yeah, because you have to.
Cheat
Because
it
it's
up.
busted.
Alright.
It only works between the precious 62 Fahrenheit and 69 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So set your thermostats accordingly.
Yeah, and only if you weigh between 80 and 92 pounds. That's a very specific threshold for a weight test.
Oh
What's
my
the
gosh.
average Japanese 14-year-old weight? Because that's probably what it's calibrated to.
Like
It's funny, I actually
17 ounces.
I majored in this at San Francisco City College, so it is exactly what Sean just said. Yeah.
San Francisco City College now accepting applications.
For life. Okay, let's
For-
go.
Yeah, for part-time archaeologists. But so the history is Super Mario Brothers Super Show was the television series based on the Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2 video games, which, if you've ever played those two and then watched the series, you'll recognize it right away.
Right.
It was originally broadcast via first-run syndication in 1989 to September, from September 1989 to December of 1989, with reruns continuing until September of 91. The Super Mario Brothers cartoons aired 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, with the Legend of Zelda cartoon airing on Fridays, which, when you watch these, you'll understand the segue there.
Yeah.
But the Family Channel picked up the series from September of 91 until August of 94, and the show was produced by the Dick over at Deke, with and was distributed by Viacom Enterprises.
Wonderful. Yeah, I just want to throw one thing in there. This one does abide by our 65 episode rule with a twist. So this one, had the 13 weeks, 5 days a week, but it was actually only 52 episodes of Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Well, Super Mario Brothers, let me say that, the cartoon Super Mario Brothers. And then the other 13 episodes were the once a week Legend of Zelda, which we will be talking about on an upcoming episode. Yeah.
I also want to point out that Matt said, you will be able to recognize this show if you've played Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 2.
Right.
If you have not, this is just a crazy fever dream.
Yeah. I was watching it as like a person who, now clearly I grew up in the 80s. You cannot grow up in the 80s and not know what Mario Brothers are unless you're like in a bunker like Kimmy Schmidt. So I tried watching this as like someone
anywhere in Utah.
Or in Utah, yeah, where video games are not allowed, they're just buried. So I tried watching this as like a person who had no idea what Super Mario Brothers were, and this would have just probably just sent you into the loony bin. And we'll talk about why. It's not just the cartoon itself, it's the live action portion of it that really just blew my mind. But I don't want to get there quite yet. I'm going to turn this back over to Sean. He's going to tell you more or less what this show was about, both kind of the live action and the cartoon parts.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Sure.
So the interesting thing about this show is that it's broken up into multiple segments. There is a live portion of the show, which there is a live action Mario, and he is played by WWE Hall of Famer Captain Lou Albano. I love Lou Albano. I was so excited to see him. And Luigi is played by Danny Wells.
I don't know.
I don't know it all either.
Sorry, Danny.
Which is a reoccurring Luigi theme that you're just like, oh yeah, just fuck that guy.
Yep.
Like nobody remembers him. So it takes place, surprise, surprise, about two Italian-American plumbers who are living in Brooklyn. And each show, which I can't wait to get into this, has a celebrity guest star that comes on and is introduced, and it's amazing. I want to say out of the 3 guest stars that we saw,
which will blow your mind, by the way, when we talk about them kind of in retrospect, because they weren't, when they were on this show, with the exception of one of them, 2 of them had not become like a big deal yet. Like you wouldn't have recognized them just from watching this show. Yeah.
And one of the guest stars, oddly enough, was playing a character, which we'll dive into a little bit more later. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it. A majority of the show doesn't make sense.
So stick around.
You're right
for
on
nonsense.
Each of the second segment of each one of these episodes consisted of, as Dave mentioned, Monday through Thursday it was Super Mario Brothers, and every Friday Legend of Zelda. So for these cartoon segments, it followed, as Matt had mentioned, about the classic NES Super Mario and Super Mario Brothers 2, which I can't say this without pointing out that Super Mario Brothers 2 was actually just a reskinning of a Japanese game called Doki Doki Panic.
Doki Doki Panic.
And so if you are unfamiliar and you think to yourself, why didn't Super Mario Brothers 2 have all of the classic characters that I knew and loved from the original? Well, Nintendo was like, we're cheap and we're on a shoestring budget, so we're just going to take a game that was like moderately successful in Japan and we're going to reskin it.
We're just going to drop white turnips into it.
Right.
Yeah.
We are going to put our classic characters, being Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Princess Toadstool, We're going to drop them into this crazy, crazy world, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And everybody bought it, and everybody loved it. I mean, I think that honestly was one of my favorite Mario Brothers
I'd
games.
like to go back and revisit them because I remember 2 standing out just because it was so different from the other ones around it. I mean, not at a basic level, but it just like the visuals of it were just it just didn't feel right, and that's obviously like Sean mentioned, there was a reason for that. So yeah,
You are correct. Yeah. So, the whole point of this is that Mario and Luigi are tasked with defending the Mushroom Kingdom from King Koopa, and it often results in some type of a movie or a pop culture parody. So everybody tends to have an alter ego, and we'll get a little bit more into the episodes. What those specific alter egos are, but they're fun. They're fun. They're kind of cheesy, but they're enjoyable. The one thing that this show suffers from is something that we've never talked about on this show before, which is too many theme songs.
yeah.
Didn't think that
All
was
the theme
possible.
songs. Man,
This show has so many theme songs. There is a theme song for the intro to the program for the live action. Then there is a theme song for the intro to the cartoon portion of the Mario Brothers, and then there is an outro show, which is probably my favorite.
you think so? It's your favorite? Okay.
I think
man,
that's
the intro was absolutely my favorite because when they dove into it and cut me off if I'm going to spoil this, but I really just thought that being hooked on the brothers was something that you can go to Malibu Passages for on a 6-week program.
Hooked on the brothers.
yeah.
That is actually
Guys,
yeah. Go ahead.
I am happy to tell you that after a 12-step program and the love of the friends and family that I have,
Yeah.
I am no longer hooked on the brothers.
Well, congratulations, sir. Do you have your 1-year chip for not being hooked on the brothers? Excellent.
Exactly.
I am sorry to test you.
It's a mushroom, by the way.
Oh, it's just a mushroom chip. Nice. I'm sorry to tempt you by making you watch this show, because it's like a gateway to getting hooked on the brothers. So, I just want you to stay strong. You know that we're here for you, and we'll get through this. Okay? All good? Actually, that's a great jumping off point, Sean, to get into your theories about this intro and theme song, which honestly I could spend the next hour just talking about it because there's just so much going on and none of it makes sense.
It doesn't. Not a lot of this makes sense. There is a plumber's rap that kicks off this show.
That's the title of it. Yeah.
Yes, and it is. It's divided into 2 parts, as I mentioned. There's the main theme that intros the live action portion, and then at some point when they either transition or the Mario Brothers kind of throw the show to themselves in an animated version.
Right. There's a whole meta thing that I still can't quite figure out.
It's great.
Right.
There's a lot of it that just made me laugh. But
It's like
Yes.
it's set up like a variety show with no second act. Like there's no other act. It's
With
just the
no
Mario
variety.
Brothers. There's no variety to this variety show.
it's a variety
It's
show with
so
no
it's the
variety.
weirdest damn thing, but it kind of works because it's just for like kids and their cereal, sugar brains. So I mean, whatever, it's fine.
No, I mean I think that like I wish I had printed out the
Oh,
lyrics.
do you wish you had printed them out? Because I have them in front of me.
Oh my God! Please go into this. I can't wait.
I'm not gonna sing it because
And now,
No. Just give us a spoken language interpretation,
okay.
David.
All right.
spoken word by Dave Trump.
Yeah, here's our second disclaimer for the episode. If it sounds like we're being racist or stereotypical of Italians or Italian Americans in general, I promise you we are not doing this on purpose. We are just trying to get the point of the show across. There are things that they say on this show as Italian Americans that would be offensive even to non-Italian Americans. So just kind of roll with it and know that it comes from the show. So we're basically just quoting this. Yeah.
I want to jump on as the only Italian American on this show,
Correct.
and just simply say I'm cool with
You're
it.
cool with it? Okay.
I'm cool.
As
with it.
one of the 2 non-Italian Americans on the show, I was uncomfortable at times. So
This is how every holiday at my family was like.
Interesting.
We
you just put
we
big
all-
mustaches on and
giant
As the other
mustaches.
As the other non-Italian American, I can say that I was totally fine with
Okay,
this.
all right. Maybe only one. Maybe I have
I
non-Italian
found it
guilt.
very, very funny.
Interesting, interesting.
I want to point out, Dave, that you are the only person here who carries any guilt.
Yeah, non-Italian guilt. It's a very specific
So-
form of white guilt. I am afflicted
Oh,
with
God.
it. Yeah. So
Catholic
this-
by proxy.
Catholic by
Get at it,
proxy.
Dave.
Give me four
Oh my god.
Hail Marys.
We
and
keep
a-
putting this off. David, get to the theme
Four Hail
song!
Marys and a How's Your Father. Okay, so this theme song, it was actually written by Saban and Levy, who we've talked about a number of times. You know, Power Rangers theme song and a ton of other stuff. So this one, I'm guessing was one of their earlier ones because boy is it rough. Here we go. It starts off, "Hey paisanos." So right there, right out of the gates, there's your. Oh, by the way, we are Italian Americans, friends. Thanks for watching. It's a Super Mario Brothers Super Show. We're the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's our game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others. You'll be hooked on the brothers. And then there's a weird, I don't know what that's about. You'll be hooked on the brothers. And then there's a gimme gimme, gimme gimme. You're in for a treat, so hang on to your seat. Get ready for adventures and remarkable feats. You'll meet Koopas, the Troopas, the Princess, and others. Hanging with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers. To the brink! Huh, I said
That
hooked on the
that
brothers.
is my favorite line. The to the brink.
To the brink.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
I think
I apologize.
no, that's really it. Because then after
Okay.
that, they just say hooked on the brothers 1,000 times, and then later they do the Mario. So
When I was hooked on the brothers, let me tell you something. Things really got to the brink.
yeah, did you meet Koopas, the Troopas, the Princess, and others?
Well, after eating all the mushrooms that are required for a life in the Super Mario world, yeah,
Yeah.
I met a lot of people, Dave.
I
A lot of
would
people.
not mind getting hooked on the brothers if it meant like mentally I could just trip into Super Mario World for life. I'm fine with that. Just put me in a corner and hook me on the brothers. I'm good to go.
It's when you come back, Dave.
I know that's when you.
That's when the trouble
yeah,
starts.
you go down the tunnel into the underground world. It's pretty dark down there.
It's actually, Dave, it's a tube.
Oh, it's a tube. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be a tunnel, would it be? Warp tube.
I mean, it's really a warp pipe. It's a green warp pipe.
Warp pipe.
Like, are we gonna get technical about
No,
this?
we're definitely
Way
not
off
because
the
this
pipe,
show.
dude.
Listen, this show has pretty much nothing to do with the actual video game at all, except that they took every single sound effect, every single kind of like MIDI theme that they could jam in here, and they used it ad nauseum. I'm talking like every time somebody takes a step, every time somebody turns around, there's a sound
Jumps.
effect, there's anything. It just crammed full of this.
You know what? I kind of like that, though.
I did to an extent, but then it started really kind of grating on my nerves after a while.
Yeah, that was my next line. It's it's like great because it's like, okay, this is like, based on the video game in a fun way, but at the same time, every time they take a step and it's like the jump sound, it's like, oh yeah, that's great.
Every single time. But that's actually
There was a lot of
Yeah, go ahead.
there was a lot of very confusing Foley in this, as Matt mentioned, is that the sounds that you would associate from the video game did not match up to the sound effects that you would imagine in the real life version, and so there were a lot of moments where like, they would do something and it would be like the coin sound,
Right.
and you're just like, oh, what did they like? He would move a cake on a seat and it would be like the coin sound,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the?
Okay, now if you're not
What is going
if you're
on?
not following what Sean's talking about right now, he is still talking about the live action portion of this show. So we're not even in the cartoon yet. Like when they actually do that as a live action, we're getting these sound effects. So if Mario or Luigi walks down the steps, or they move something to the side, or they pull a lever, you're getting the sound effects from the cartoon. Now they're all throughout or from the video game. I'm sorry, they're all throughout the cartoon as well. But it's really bizarre that they use them in the live action portion of this.
I mean, they are used correct in the animated portion of the show.
Constantly, but
In-
correct. Yes.
In the live action, there are just moments where they have these additional sound effects and Foley, and you're just like, this does not match up to the action that they're doing. Now, I don't want to say as a gamer that it was confusing, because kind of like what you have both said, like it was kind of fun. Like for the first couple times, it was kind of fun, and then it just kind of like continued to be a gag that just went on too long. And I don't want to say I hated it, but I'm kind of curious to go and continue to watch some of the older episodes in the series and see if they maybe the first three, they were like, hey guys, we got to really shoehorn this stuff in as much as possible.
Man, okay, so to give you an idea, like we said, it's the variety hour kind of thing. So they do a lot of slapstick stuff, a lot of like overly dramatic motions and actions and facial expressions, and a lot of just like physical comedy and things like that. But there's also a laugh track that is one of the most painful things I've heard in a while. It's just
Yeah, that was real bad.
it's really rough. It's funny in the sense because it's so bad, but nothing they're really doing on stage is all that funny. I mean, it's fine. I'm sure it was funny for kids. The real saving grace is when they bring these guest stars in, which do you guys want to just jump right into them now?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. Now, the first one that showed up, I had no clue who it was at first. Luckily, Mario and Luigi just say her entire name. But before we even get to her name, do you guys remember how she was introduced to the show and how they actually came across her?
She had like a problem with her sink. Like she needed the services of the Mario Brothers.
Right, but do you remember how she actually like made their acquaintance?
Through a double-sided medicine cabinet.
Yeah, real
Yes.
creepy. So they're like in their, I'm assuming their own bathroom, in their place, and trying to like fix stuff. And they're like, "Hey, we're
Slash,
Italian and we're
slash
plumbers."
window to the hallway.
Yeah, real strange. So I didn't know if it was like, I don't know if it was going to be like a TV monitor that she was contacting them through, or just like a window, or just they had a random teenage girl trapped in their bathroom. I don't know what the hell was going on, but you just see this face like behind their medicine cabinet, and then she is just like, "Oh, hey, you guys are the Mario Brothers," and then just basically walks in, and joins them in their creepy subterranean basement lair. I don't even know what to call it because I mean, in New York and Brooklyn, that's a pretty good space, but
Yeah,
it's,
that would
it's
be
basically
a
like a
$2
sub-basement.
million apartment.
Yeah. Well, not after they're done with it.
Also,
They had pizza on
with the
everything.
Mario Brothers, since Mario is that's his first name, and Luigi is the first name. So is it Mario, and Luigi Mario?
Oh yeah, I think I said Luigi Brothers at the beginning of the show, didn't I? Man, I'm screwing it all up. They're the Mario Brothers, obviously.
No, you said Mario Brothers, but if they're the Mario Brothers, that should be their last name.
Yeah, it's Mario,
So
Mario, and Luigi Mario.
plot thickens.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's like a thing. Did you not know that before? I'm pretty sure that that's been a thing.
You know, when I was originally playing Mario Brothers and had invested hours of my life in the Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
I was really not concerned with their lineage, but now I am.
Yeah, well, once Wario showed up, I mean, that sent the whole thing to hell. I wish Wario would have been around for this show because I wanted to see what would have happened if, like, Lou Albano would have just, like, worn a purple and yellow uh, overalls and shirt and hat and mustache. That would have been fantastic. I would have loved that.
Just came in and wrecked shop.
Oh, yeah, just destroyed everything. Just ate all their pizza. Ate their pizza phone.
I
Everything.
love that pizza phone.
I love that. I
God,
love
wish-
that Mario kept like fixing it. He was just like, "Oh yeah, just press the three button." Yeah,
It's third pepperoni.
said pepperoni. Oh,
You know,
man.
the person that they have as the voice actor for Mario, who kind of came into existence like in '95, his name is Charles Martinet, and he's the guy who does like the "It's a me, a Mario," like
So like
you
the
know,
actual video game guy.
yeah, like the actual video game guy.
Nice.
It is crazy to think that before '95, like before Mario had a voice, it was Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's just.
that's
I
it.
remember loving that as a kid because I didn't really understand it. I was like, I watch this guy on wrestling all the time. He wears a rubber band on his beard and he beats the shit out of people and he's really overweight. What the hell is happening? Like, why is he a video game character now? I don't understand what's happening. But I loved it. I loved seeing him on wrestling and then seeing him on this show. It was just cool. It was again like watching one of those old live action kid shows where you recognize the people and you got to like see them every week. It was kind of cool. Danny Wells, sorry, still don't know who you are, but Captain Lou, R.I.P. He unfortunately passed away a few years back, 2009.
Yeah.
But yeah, Captain Lou. But back to the live action again. So our first guest star, 17-year-old blonde teenage girl. What was her problem again? What did she need? What does she need done with
She
these?
needs, as I mentioned previously, she had like a clogged sink, or she needed some plumbing help.
Now, I don't know if I'm just a perv in my
Yeah,
old
she
age.
did.
Yeah, thank you, because were there a lot of innuendos for you guys? Did it creep you out at all, the way that this 17-year-old was being treated by, like, 40, 50-year-old Italian-American
You know,
Bronx
it
plumbers?
didn't creep me out I, it didn't creep me out. I'm just gonna say I've seen many other films start the same way.
Well, she starred in a few of them
End of
because,
sentence.
of course, we were talking this 17-year-old at the time, Nicole Eggert. Everyone, Nicole Eggert. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but around this time she was on Who's the Boss and I think Charles in Charge.
That's correct.
Okay, and then later rose to Baywatch fame,
Yep.
and then not too long after that rose to internet infamy, I guess, with some just like kind of softcore adult films, and basically her career didn't really seem to go anywhere. But it all started with
Wait,
Super
you're
Mario
serious
Brothers
about
Super
that?
Shows. Yeah, I mean just like some softcore stuff, nothing crazy.
Yeah. Did you not know this?
I did not know that, but
Yeah.
thank you for letting me
To
know.
the internet, yeah. So you can.
So
I've filled out the rest of my evening.
Yeah, it makes it so much creepier though, knowing that, and then going back and watching what happens to her throughout the course of this live-action series of events.
So I want to say that Ms. Eggert she was she was in Baywatch at the time of this show.
No way. She would have been 17.
Well, I mean, Baywatch came on in what was it, 98, and this show came out in
89,
What?
dude.
89.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
She
sorry.
Had a,
Baywatch
she had a
came
few
on.
years to mature.
Baywatch came on in 89.
What? No way.
Yes,
Did
dude.
it
I'm
really?
not- Yes.
Yeah, dude, that was when the Hoff was still looking good.
I thought that was a solid 90s show. I didn't think that
I
was.
I apologize.
No,
Bay-
you're correct. It's 89.
No,
but-
Baywatch was 89 to 2001.
Yeah, but when did she join the show? That's what I want to know. It couldn't have been when she was 17. That's super creepy.
Probably.
Well, because they even say, like, oh, hey, Nicole Eggert, we love your show. And if they were talking about Baywatch, then this is the creepiest fucking thing that we've ever watched on this show.
Well, I mean,
Also
they,
creates significant plot holes since she was in New York and Baywatch was in Southern California.
Yeah, where they have sloppy parties, apparently.
oh boy.
Oh,
No.
we are super sloppy.
We should explain the
Explain everything.
reference to Sloppy Party.
Right.
So, over the course, long story short,
Mm-hmm.
the Mario Brothers try to demonstrate their plumbing prowess to Miss Eggert,
Aw, yeah.
and they consistently fail every time. And every time they fail, she continues to get dirtier and dirtier and dirtier.
You
and
are
I mean this
selling
in
this.
and I mean this in a
Sexual.
she gets squirted with water from a faucet. She's
She gets blasted by a furnace.
yeah, she gets blasted by smoke from a furnace. She steps in a cake, and then she
She
stands
sits on
under
a pizza.
sits on a pizza.
So it's kind of a squirt blast cake food play.
It's a squirt blast cake fart pizza pants.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted you to say, Dave.
Yep.
So
Cinemax is going to cash in on that for sure.
the final the coup de grace
Yes.
for this is she's standing under, for some reason the Mario Brothers in their house have a like one of those like plastic kind of like circular outlets or containers that they use on construction sites when they're up on like a top floor and they're
Yeah.
dumping trash.
It's the trash chute. Yeah, yeah.
And the trash chute comes directly into the Super Mario Brothers home.
Basically, they live beneath Pee-wee's Playhouse, is what I've decided from the show. Like, they just get, like, all the trash and just garbage that comes out of Pee-wee's Playhouse and goes down into their place. Yeah.
It seems so accurate.
Yeah.
So she's standing underneath this trash chute, and she just gets dumped on. And, you think to yourself, like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. Like, they have completely, like, defiled Ms. Eggert in her current youthful state. How is she going to be presentable? As she had mentioned multiple times during this live action episode,
Right.
with this vignette, that like she has a party to go to, she has a pressing engagement, she really needs to leave. Like, so there's, in terms of stakes, she needs to GTFO, and they continue just to slop on crap on top of her, and then it's kind of resolved in sort of like a very nice way, because
Yeah.
you think like, oh no, like this is going to be gross, and then she's like, oh no, this is perfect. I'm on my way to a sloppy party.
What?
And that's when the record just scratched
Yeah,
for me,
exactly.
and I was like, what?
So, wait, what?
Say what? Like, it was. So she's going to a party where the person who is the dirtiest is rewarded.
Correct. And they saved her, this is her line, they saved her from having to get a costume, which they then proceed to rub the remains of the cake all over her. Which,
Which that was awkward.
And that was really, really fucking weird.
yeah, because she started doing it herself too, which is kind of, yeah. Ironically, she starred in a series of adult videos later on titled Sloppy Party. So, there you go. You can check them out on DVD and Laserdisc.
And I think I will.
Okay, so Baywatch did start in 1989. However, Nicole Eggert joined as Summer Quinn in 1992. So she was at least of age and at least 20 years old and 3 years removed from being assaulted by the Mario Brothers. So this poor thing must have such psychological damage. Oh dear.
Oh boy.
So that's one guest star down. We haven't even talked about the cartoon, but I don't even care because these guest
That's
stars are
fine.
By the
great.
way, the Mario Brothers are serving 12 to 15 at Sing Sing, thanks to their quote unquote plumbing abilities.
Indeed. Yeah.
Anytime the Mario Brothers move into a new neighborhood, there is a long meet and greet with their explanations about why they cannot be around small children.
Yeah. But they will do the plumbing for you, pro bono. So just keep that in mind. You get what you pay for. Do you want to jump to our second guest star before we actually get into some of the plots of the cartoons here?
Yes, let's get into it.
Now-
So our second guest star,
Blew my mind. I mean, the first one was crazy enough. It was just like, okay, a random, pre-Baywatch star. What else have they got?
we have Danica McKellar.
Right.
And if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, oh, I know exactly who that is, that's great for you, but I know her as Winnie Cooper
Yes.
from the Wonder Years. And this was where it took a slightly interesting turn.
This was her
Is that-
big break.
Was it
I
really?
mean, no, but it was one of the it was one of the earlier.
You fuck.
This was like her second
Oh my
listed
God.
claim defense, like her second role. It was something was like she was on like a Twilight Zone episode as a kid, and then Super Mario Brothers as I'll let you say her
And then
name.
a sharp
Yeah, yeah.
drop off.
Yeah,
So she comes on and she is introduced not as Danica McKellar, but she is introduced as Patty, the sad-eyed orphan.
Yep.
And I kid you not, she's just like, they're like, the Mario Brothers, like Mario's like, what's your name? And it's just like, it's Patty, the sad-eyed orphan. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
she just starts bawling and crying.
God.
At that point, I was like, oh, this is Patty, the Sedai orphan. Like, that was her last name. And I
Sedai
was
orphan.
like,
I don't know what
Sedai
I don't know
oh,
what
this
nationality
is
that is.
Patty's Sedai orphan.
Sedai orphan. Yeah, of the Brooklyn Sedai orphans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get Winnie Cooper on the show, and
Looking
and there
exactly
is-
like Winnie Cooper a couple years later, though, too. Like
Oh,
she's,
yes,
she's got
absolutely.
the overall, she's got the pigtails. She looks exactly like she will in a couple years. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess the plot or the idea behind this is that she's not really a sad-eyed orphan. She has just run away from home.
She's just
And-
a bitch. Let's be honest.
Well, she's playing a long con on trying to get Mario and Luigi to throw her a birthday party and buy her as she says, a VCR and a high definition television.
This-
And I was like, what?
I thought this was gonna
Wait a
take
minute,
like a
they had HD TV?
yeah. Apparently in '89. Well, HD was just kind of like I don't know. I don't even know what the
Let's
specs would have been.
get real. It was a curved screen, 32-inch Sony.
And it was a CRT.
It totally was. It might have had S-video at that point.
Oh, but those cathode rays though.
Look, I'll tell you what. I thought this long con of hers was going to turn into a hard candy situation at some point, because
Oh, I wish it had.
here's the premise.
And
So
that is the code for set for the rest of these podcasts. It turns into a hard candy
it's a real
situation.
hard candy situation. The premise is
Tag
like,
it now, ladies and gents.
look, they're in a Brooklyn, subdivision with running a plumbing shop out of their operation, basically in the basement. They don't even have enough money to afford a video of the exterior of their place. It is a still photo that the camera pans over. This little girl basically knocks on the door, starts crying. They're like, "Well, come on in. We'll make you some cake and stuff, and just hang out for a while." It could have got real bad real fast, but it turns out that she was actually conning them this whole time because she's a real brat. It ends up that she's not an orphan at all. That she has parents, and they look like they're fairly well-to-do. They look very stereotypical of like an '80s mom and dad.
Yep. Certainly the mom can afford feather hair and the dad can afford sweater
He
vests.
loves a
Yep.
good sweater vest.
That is an 80s and a 90s status symbol. Is if you could afford feathered hair and like a sweater vest, people were like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep up with these people."
They looked like
Oh, they must be doing very well.
yeah, it's quite well. They look like an SNL parody from 2003 of a family in 1990.
Yeah.
It's if that helps
The,
you
the
visually.
wife may have well has been played by like Terry O'Sherry, and like Will Ferrell.
I
may
honestly,
as well
when
be
I
the
was
dad.
watching them, I was trying to figure out if they were from like an improv troupe somewhere, or if I had ever seen them again, because they looked like those characters that just were.
I don't know, Dave. Probably a lot of us are also actors.
Probably, yeah. Do you know them? Do you guys all keep in touch?
No, I have no
Do you
idea.
exchange
You know, you
cards?
said us like you've done something, so I'm just fucking.
I'm just gonna leave that one out there. I ain't touching that.
Yeah, fair
I
enough.
ain't touching
Right,
that
we'll
one with
address that offline.
with a plumbing snake.
So our third special guest
Might be my
is-
favorite.
This is my favorite. This is hands down my favorite. We have oh boy.
Back it up. He's getting excited, ladies and gentlemen. He can't even say it.
I'm excited about this.
should
We have
be.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, Sergeant Slaughter.
That was the best.
That was real good.
If people are not
The only thing I could, when I saw him, the only thing I could think of is, you know, he's probably got a lot of post-Gulf War PTSD.
I would imagine post wrestling, post GI Joe. He's got a lot of problems. I'd imagine. I wonder if he's still
mean, I
kicking
would-
around.
As soon as he realized the ring wasn't real, he's like, "Oh my god!" Smash cut to deep therapy.
well, I don't really think the Gulf War started until the 90s.
It started in '89, man.
Did it?
Same year as Baywatch.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it.
Coincidence?
I think not.
Operation Desert Shield.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure the Gulf War started in the 90s.
Luckily, this is
Like,
not a
I
historical
think
Started
it
when I
podcast.
was in kindergarten. That was 1989.
All right,
I think it started in 1990 to 91,
let's
buddy.
check it out. Let's check out. I'm gonna also Google
you
the
know
Gulf
what?
War because why the hell not? August 2nd,
It started
1990.
in whatever.
August 2nd, 1990 to February 28th, 1991. That's how you do a war, Obama.
Close enough.
Fucking like 4 months and done.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're
Oh,
gonna get some real shit for this.
I think we're all right. I think we're all right.
Nobody look at the comments
We're
section.
I
Let's
never
just
do.
move
So we're
on.
just talking Sergeant Slaughter. He's still kicking, apparently. Real name Robert Remus, born 1948. He's still kicking. He actually looks pretty good.
Wow.
He looks better at the 2013 New York Comic Con than he did at the 1989 Super Mario Brothers Super Show because he looked
God.
terrible. He looked.
Interestingly
He looked real
enough,
He
bad.
had like the coke
with
bloat.
the name of Remus, he looked better at the Order of Phoenix reunion of 1997 than he did at the Order of Phoenix reunion of 2014.
I'm so lost right now. I don't know what just happened.
I have no idea what just happened.
Order of
We
Phoenix.
crossed over. You know what? We're going to cut this out and just.
Was Sergeant Slaughter in Harry Potter? Did I miss that?
He might have been.
No, interesting. For another time. We'll get back to your slash fiction another time.
Are you saying that he looked like Voldemort?
Oh, with the mustache. You know what?
No,
I'm gonna-
explain
Mustache.
yourself.
All right, I need to.
Explain
Yeah, I
yourself.
need to hear more on this.
Yeah, explain this train of
Yeah,
thought.
you know what? I'm going to explain it through my fan fiction. Look forward to that next week. Posted to, I don't know. What are we posting our fan fiction
Jesus
to?
Anything you want.
Christ.
The Tumblr page. Why not?
All right, there you go. Tumblr. Yeah, it'll be up there.
You know what? Because I know how motivated you are about some of these writings and how excited you are to be able to share them with the world, why don't you kind of give us a synopsis or at least give us maybe like a brief preview, Matt?
Hey, why don't we tease the listeners? And Matt, you can do that at the end of the show. We're going to bring it back around to Super Mario Brothers Super Show. So you think about what you want to tell the listeners. We'll let you do the outro with your Slaughter fanfic. How's that sound? Sounds great. Okay, so Sergeant Slaughter. So Sergeant Slaughter, for folks who don't know, was a wrestler kind of around the same time as Lou Albano. So obviously those two guys knew each other from that. Slaughter kind of like he crossed a lot of genres and a lot of boundaries though too. He had a G.I. Joe character made after him.
I had that G.I.
I think
Joe
I
character.
did too. Yeah, that was one that I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
was
most
great.
kids probably had.
Well, I definitely did.
Yeah, I mean he was just everywhere, and he was basically just like a drill sergeant, you know, the drill instructor.
It was basically, as I recall, it was the action figure with camo clothes and then the obvious like drill sergeant hat, like that wide brim sort of hat.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Lee Army always has. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With that like
Oh
single
yeah,
star on the
absolutely.
front. Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter. It's pretty badass. So do you remember his entrance to this to this show?
Was it?
As I recall, it was a phone call
Hmm.
that was on speakerphone, and the speaker was like covered in pizza.
Yeah, that's their pizza phone and their
Yeah,
pizza
the pizza
speaker.
Yeah,
phone.
Pizza
Yeah.
speaker. My favorite part of this, before we even get to how he shows up and the vehicle he chose to get there and what he's there even for, was the fact that Mario, while Luigi's talking to him on the phone, Mario's just sitting at a table just eating a loaf of bread. Like, this is just fucking for no reason. He's just tearing chunks out of a loaf of bread and just popping them in his mouth this entire time. And for some reason, that just killed me. I loved it because it's just Captain Lou Albano sitting there eating bread. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like a homeless pigeon or something. But anyway.
which would be a great segue for our coverage of the Animaniacs and the
Ooh, that
God
would be
Pigeon.
good. Oh man, I would
Oh
love to talk about
gosh.
that. I'd love to talk. That is a variety show right there. There's an animated
Yes.
variety show that is
Damn
top
right.
notch. Top
Done.
notch.
Done right.
Dem do right. Yeah, so Sergeant Slaughter, I don't know why he's really coming to these guys. They're there to fix his steam machine.
Yeah, he has a steam machine,
Yeah.
and they are fixing it. And what happens is Mario enters the steam machine and then disappears until
Setting
the very
up
end.
the show's longest gag yet. Yeah.
Yes, and so the joke culminates with Luigi opening up the steam machine
Right.
and a midget, like a short person dressed like Mario,
Called-
this little person.
Yes, they dub
this
him Mini Mario in the credits, but yes.
Davis Warwick jumps out of the steam machine and is like, "Everybody needs to go see Willow," and you're just like, "Ah, I get it.
That would have
I
been
get it.
great.
I'm in. I'm on board."
Make
Cross
sure to
promotion
buy
I
Willow
thought
the
it was
video
for,
game. Yeah.
I thought it was where Peter Dinklage got it started.
It looked like Peter Dinklage to the point that I had to look it up because
Did
I,
you really?
yeah, I think the guy's name is like Joseph Griffo. I think that's his name. Joseph.
Well,
I'll
Joseph,
be
you
more
did a great-
relevant 18 years from now.
Joseph, you did a great job. You
really did.
knocked it out of the park.
He did, man.
And then that was it.
That
Like
was it. That's the gag.
bit cut.
Yeah,
like,
the only thing it's like
blackout.
Slaughter is there, so Mario's gone. He's getting steamed and shrunk down to little person size the entire time. So Slaughter is just there hassling Luigi, who basically, flips him off and like flips him the bird more or less a couple of times. Cue the
Yeah,
laugh
he gives
track
him,
because that's
he
hilarious.
gives him the under
Yep.
like the,
Yeah,
if you
flicks the
if you
chin.
take your hand
Yep.
if you take your hand and you flip it under your chin
Yeah.
at somebody, like that's an insult.
Yeah, that's
like,
a pretty brazen
he-
one too.
Yeah, it's a very brazen insult, and he is continually
that
just
the-
given.
Isn't that the Italian, like, fuck you?
Yeah, pretty much, man.
It's actually a Italian
That and
version
like
of
the
finger,
elbow
if I'm
thing,
not
that kind of like
mistaken.
spitting the elbow at you is it's not good. And that's what Luigi did to Sergeant Slaughter there. Not real bright.
Yeah,
Yeah. But that was it. Two other bits I liked. Apparently, Sergeant Slaughter drove his tank. He had a Sherman tank that he was driving across the Brooklyn Bridge. So that's fun.
And took a shortcut.
Yeah, took a shortcut and then crushed some old lady in a Chevy. Apparently, that was a little strange.
That was real terrifying.
Yeah, pretty terrifying. And then, did you notice when they showed the steps sound effects of him walking down the steps to get to their place? Did you see the funhouse steps?
He had the steps bending.
Yeah,
that
they're
was
basically like
ridiculous.
rubber steps. So like as he was walking on them, they would just drop out from beneath. It was weird. And just so many weird things on this show.
Very Beekman's world.
Yeah. So that's our guest stars for this show. Man, I guess we should actually talk about the cartoons itself. What do you think? It's dead silence.
I mean, for me, the first 3 episodes, I watched them like front to back.
Yeah, same
They
here.
were very like repeatable plot. It was somebody gets captured.
Check.
Like in the first episode, it was Toadstool. In the second episode, it was, or I'm sorry, in the third episode,
Right.
it was the princess.
Right.
In the second episode, they were fighting against King Koopa with the
Yeah, it was the Arthurian legend, basically.
yeah
With
the
the Jewish wizard,
wizard
with Mav and the wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a schlemiel he is.
A schlemazel.
But, exactly. So, it was basically like rinse, wash, repeat. A, B, and C of the main characters are, trying to rescue or, defeat, somebody. It was just, I mean, it was all the same.
Well,
For
let's
the
just talk
first
about
three
the
episodes,
let's
I
talk
mean,
about the characters then too, because obviously you've got Mario, who's the hero. You've got his brother Luigi, who basically for this cartoon was pretty spineless, and he was just kind of like the yellow-bellied kind of comedic role in this. He didn't
yeah,
really
he
do a
was
whole
like
lot.
the comedy relief. Yeah,
Yeah, he was comedic relief, and then you've got Toad, which I don't know, kind of
he
snarky,
was
kind
kind
of
of like
gruff.
yeah, he was kind of like slapstick comedy.
Yeah, and then you've got Princess, which I don't know. Sometimes she was just the damsel in distress, and other times she was, actively trying to help them get out of a situation. But I don't really get a whole lot from her. What do you think?
The only thing that I got from Princess Toadstool was that she had really thick forearms.
That's a strange observation, but okay.
Like the
Yeah,
way that
that's
they drew her,
Yeah.
real weird.
she had super thick forearms, and then there's a moment in in the first episode where they jump across like a small chasm,
Right.
and Luigi kind of like slips and looks like he's gonna fall backwards,
Right.
and then Princess Toadstool reaches out and grabs him, and I was like,
With her
oh,
man
that's
hands?
that's
Yeah.
what those thick forearms are for.
From
Like
saving
it,
Luigi all these years.
it was a very weird, just the size of her. I mean, it wasn't any. There was no problem. She's still a princess. She's still insanely feminine. She's great. But for some reason, just the way that they drew her, she just had really big, like Popeye forearms, and I didn't get that.
I didn't
was
notice that at all.
I was so super confused.
I want to go back and watch it again and see if I could see her manly forearms.
Yeah,
Real strange.
it was interesting.
Hey, you know what ladies get big forearms from?
So,
Yeah.
yep,
Yep.
And the total hoop skirt outfit as well. Don't forget that.
right.
Which was great.
was-
I mean, she used it like so. There's I think it's in the third episode. Maybe it's the second. No, it's the second one actually. They have to jump on a bunch of like the Koopa Troopers, which is what you do in the video game. That's literally all you do. So
That's how you defeat them.
yeah, so they do that, and she actually gets in on the fun. She gets in on the action. So I thought that was cool. Didn't matter, she's a princess. She's wearing her hoop skirt. She's got her hair all did, but she's still jumping on these guys and killing them all. So that was cool. I thought that was fun. I just didn't get a whole lot of personality out of her. Apparently, just big forearms. That's all we know. There is something I need to ask you guys though. So, pasta power. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, let's get into this. This is the number one note I wrote down. So please, let's dive in.
This show could not be
No,
more
I've
brazenly stereotypical about Italian Americans. They had to include pasta power.
I've carved up for many a race, so I can appreciate the pasta power.
Yeah, fair enough. Did carb loading? Did you also include a patty cake rhyme with that before you got going?
I didn't, but
Maybe you should have.
I kind of wish maybe I should have.
Yeah, maybe
Could
you
have could have shaved 2 minutes off the race time. There, so.
Maybe you could have, man. You could have just jumped straight over that finish line. Yeah, so I don't know whose bright idea that was to, conjure the pasta power. The weird thing is it's not just the Luigi or Mario and Luigi that can use it. Didn't Princess use it at one point too? Didn't she just yell out pasta power and like jump?
I think she yelled out pasta power in support of Mario and Luigi.
Like to remind them that they have this thing that's weird and that helps
Like
them.
a solidarity thing.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Interesting.
It was really the rallying call that they had in every instance where
Yeah.
their backs were up against the wall. They were just like pasta power, and that's what set them in motion.
Yeah, that. But they also did the patty cake thing, right?
What? Yeah, and I
they
guess
linked?
well, Dave, I said that like last comment with like a question mark.
Yeah, yeah.
because in no way, shape, or form in any video game that has ever been introduced in the Mario franchise do they really introduce pasta power as a catchphrase,
Nope.
patty cake as like a
It's
rallying
anything.
cry.
Anything.
This is like they were trying to create a catchphrase out of something
Yes.
where it was unnecessary at that point. Like you have to realize, like Mario Brothers at that point, like in the late 80s, early 90s, like that was a hundreds of millions of dollar franchise
Oh, yeah.
at that point. Like nobody was questioning the success of this, but for some reason they thought or they felt the need to inject this pasta power catchphrase
Right.
it never caught on beyond this show, thank God.
Can I please? Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you finish. I want to read an entry from Wikipedia. It's
No,
real short.
please,
It's just
go,
hilarious.
go.
So, just the final stinger of this makes this fantastic. So, this is about pasta power. When Mario and Luigi are in danger, they often do their patty cake routine. Here it is: patty cake, pasta man. Gimme pasta power as quick as you can. Now, here's my favorite part from Wikipedia. Then everything becomes possible. Then everything becomes possible with pasta power. Just remember that, kids.
Shut the fuck up.
Yep, everything
I'm
becomes
telling
possible.
you, man, carb loading
Yeah, carb loading. Don't listen to that.
gives you all that power.
That all protein diet. It's carb loading. That's where it's at. Now,
That's right.
Okay, so there's pasta power, but then there's also the fire flour, right? Which
Well, that was very confusing.
Yeah.
Because at the moment where they happen upon this fire flower,
Mm-hmm.
which gives Mario or Luigi the ability to shoot fireballs from their fingertips.
and I must say, an incredibly fashionable outfit
Correct.
involving an all-white hat, overalls, and a sky blue scarf. I just wanted to point that out.
And like a red undershirt.
Yeah, red undershirt to go with that. Yeah.
So they happen upon this fire flower, and Mario reacts as if he has never seen a fire flower before
Right.
in his life.
Yep.
And then touches the fire flower, and there's the Foley sound of him like like increasing in size or
Right.
like power, and then he like meta looks to the camera and just says, "I love it when that happens." And I was like, "Bitch, you just
you've
said you had
never
never
done
fucking
this."
heard of this, you asshole!" Like
Faked you
I
out.
was super.
There's
Some of
actually,
this-
like, if you watch the intros too, I saw this in the comments under one of the intro videos on YouTube. But apparently, when they touch the star, the invincible star, in the intro he touches a star, but then he gets the fireball ability. So it was like a weird goof that they had.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, a little bit of plot disconnect there, but I'm gonna let this go
Yeah,
because
I think they just
when this
crammed a
was
bunch
on
of stuff in.
TV,
Yeah.
the prime age was too unknowledgeable to let it go.
Yeah, it was fine. It was just like, okay, whatever. I recognize some of the stuff from the games, and they're kind of using it. It's probably fine. But now that we
This-
are revisiting it, it is not fine. It is not good.
A lot of this cartoon is just like, oh, okay. Well, I have this great idea for an existing franchise. Who's an animator? Oh, you know what? My buddy Dave and Matt. I've noticed that they've done like some doodles and some sketches, and that they may have like written a couple words at some point on a piece of paper
Right.
at any point in time. Over the time that I've known them, maybe they'd be interested in creating a cartoon franchise around this existing IP. Hey, Matt, Dave, would you guys be interested in doing this?
Heck yeah, let's do it. Can we do it right now?
Yeah, you know what? I'm out of money. Let's do this.
You and me both, brother.
Uh,
What I don't understand though is this. Okay, so it was a big franchise. It was obviously only going to get bigger over the next decade. So they didn't know that, but they had Nintendo behind this. They had Viacom behind this. They had Deke Productions, Deke Entertainment behind this. Those are some big players back in the late there, early 90s. Why was this
Yeah,
so
I-
shitty?
I want to go on record and saying if you get Deke behind anything, it's a big success.
Yeah, so there it is. If you get Deke behind Nicole Eggert, then you were doing well. I don't understand why this show was so crappy. That is my big confusion right now. And I think it really did pave the way, or ripped up the road, actually, to prevent any real future adaptations from Nintendo. I mean, we got the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was horrendous. And that's really all you've seen from Nintendo. You haven't seen anything else. They haven't allowed any of their properties to be adapted again, whether it was for a cartoon, whether it was for a live action series, whether it was for a movie franchise. Nothing.
Well,
And I mean, a lot of it probably goes
Lake
back to this stuff.
Leguizamo was a titan in that role.
Say that again. Oh, Leguizamo. Don't
Leguizamo,
short Bob
John
Hoskins.
Leguizamo.
Don't short Bob Hoskins.
Dude, Leguizamo should have taken the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that year.
I'm a
and I'll just
Hoskins
leave it
fan.
no,
at that.
I'm gonna sign off of this podcast right now. So have fun, guys. I'm
You
out.
don't want to talk Super Mario Brothers movie?
Not if Matt's gonna go on record saying he thinks that Leguizamo should have taken the.
I think he's
Oscar
thinking
for
of
that.
Spawn.
Oh,
I think
God,
he's
that
thinking
was
of John
awful.
Leguizamo as
That was-
clown in Spawn. As
As Violator.
Violator / clown, yeah.
Oh boy.
Now that he should have got an award for.
I I don't even know how to I don't even know how to tackle this cartoon because it just it feels it feels like if I was to it feels like if I was to say, "Hey, Dave and Matt, what's something that like collectively you guys just like right off the cuff, like what's something you don't know about?"
Animation.
Great. Hey, Dave, can you write a
Plot
show
development.
about? I'm sorry. Plot
Plot
development.
development. Yeah,
I said plot development. Yeah.
Hey, can you guys create an animated live action cartoon for kids about animation and plot development for me?
yeah, you got it.
Yeah, you know what? This is.
I don't see how this could possibly go wrong.
Give me hundreds of millions of dollars. We'll get it
This
done.
is Thursday. I can have 60 episodes for you ready on Monday.
Yeah,
We'll just
perfect.
do it live. We'll animate them live. Puts a terrible strain on the artist's wrist, but that's
Right.
fine.
I think a lot of the cartoon portions
That's
of
why
these,
there's unions, Dave.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the cartoon portions of this show are really kind of throwaways. Like
They are. Yeah.
they're there. They don't really serve much of a purpose. They don't really highlight or extend really anything in the Mario or the Mushroom Kingdom universe. It's fun to watch because you see some of the characters that
Yeah,
like
the villains
you
and
love.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Like there are some really awkward moments. Like in episode 1, there is a moment where Bowser is talking with a couple characters, and he says, and they are flattering him, and then he says like, "Look, when I want my feet licked, I'll ask for it."
Yeah.
He waits a beat, and
Oh,
then
that
just
was
goes,
so weird.
and then just goes, "I want my feet licked," and you're just like,
And they do it.
and then they lick his
They
feet, and
go
you're
to
like,
town on
"Oh,
them too.
God."
That was pretty disturbing.
Episode
Yeah, I was like, oh, that is real dark.
Well, hold on. Even in
Yeah,
episode
gross.
1 though too. So there's this weird like winged Koopa thing that they just keep calling Birdo. This
which is the name of the actual. That's
Is that the thing?
Birdo is a character in Super Mario Brothers 2.
Okay, cool.
She's like a
Right.
mini boss that spits
He
eggs.
Yeah.
was like the first boss, right?
Yeah, and I remembered that. I just didn't remember it being called Birdo. I thought it was just one of the other like Koopa creatures. So
No,
Birdo.
it is
Okay,
called
cool,
Birdo.
cool.
Birdo is the name of that
So
character.
there's a really weird thing where like this Birdo is kind of like nearsighted and it's missing its baby and whatever. That doesn't matter. The thing is, it's got like it also has like a lot of saliva and drool, and just spits like
Oh, yeah.
all this white
And
stuff.
they
Just
really could have colored that a little bit better.
anything other than just white. Anything else would
Yeah.
have been fine, or just don't
Yeah,
do it at
dude.
all.
So it looks like somebody cream pied that mouth.
All
like
over Toad.
that Birdo mouth just looked like a straight like it looked like a sloppy vagina.
Did indeed.
Oh, God.
It was not good.
But yeah, I mean, the other stuff was kind of cool. Like you saw the Shy Guys, and you saw the cactus creatures, and the Koopa
I thought in
Troopers.
episode 3
Yep.
you saw Mouser,
Mouser, yep.
who is he's the first boss in Super Mario Brothers 2. He's the mouse that throws bombs. That was pretty
That
cool.
was cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Now, I have a
Um,
question. Okay, so you said we've been talking about King Koopa for a while. You also mentioned Bowser, and I've never been clear on the distinction between the two.
I think Bowser is King Koopa. I
Are
think
they the
it's
same?
synonymous. Yes.
Okay. Are we sure? I'm gonna get so much hate mail,
I'm like
which is
pretty
100%
certain.
more than any mail I usually get. So that's fine.
He's,
Send it.
he's the king. Bowser is the king of the Koopas.
So Koopa is basically like what he is, and Bowser is his name.
Yeah, it's like their like genus species.
Okay, I'll buy it. I think this show doesn't quite go that deep into the mythology, so they probably just screwed it up anyway. But okay, I'm good with that.
So there's an awkward moment in episode 2 where they ask Luigi to do something, and he looks at Mario and Toadstool and the princess and just goes he's whining about it, and his rationale for not wanting to do something is he just goes, "I'm gonna have a baby,"
Yeah.
and you just sit there like, like these were jokes that somebody wrote in a room with other people.
Maybe, maybe not.
And I want to know, did they just all fall flat in that room, or was like anything successful?
Dude, this is why we had a laugh
I
track
feel
for the
like
show.
they went to the B list, and it's like, well, if we can't think of anything else, this is what goes in there.
Yeah, Albano's just like, let me just dig up my grandfather's old vaudeville act, and we'll just work that in. That's pretty much all he did. The
Yeah.
cartoonist
Play me
side,
off stage, Pete.
yeah, and they give him the hook. They hook his overalls. Cartoon aside, I love the commercial breaks. Now, luckily, the videos that we watched, had excised the commercials, but they kept the commercial. What do you call them? Sort of like the fade, the transitions, right?
Like the interstitials that they
interstitials,
use
right.
to toss to the commercials.
Right. So we had all these live action sort of interstitials of Mario and Luigi, just like a quick snapshot of a scene and them saying something weird that had something to do with what was going on in the live action vignette at the time. But man, some of them were just like either too easy, just like softball. Some of them were like borderline creepy, and some of them just made no sense. Do you remember any of them? Did you guys have any favorites of those? Because I wrote a few of them down, but
Oh, of the
the interstitials, just like the things they said to like throw it to commercials and then bring it back to the show.
No, I please get into the interstitials, but the things that I wrote down were the gross foods that Mario mentioned every episode.
Yeah, the cartoon
yeah.
version.
And
Yeah.
the insults that the Koopa Troopas and Bowser mentioned in reference to Mario and Luigi.
Well, please, let's hear a few of those because I was really grossed out by Mario's appetite.
Okay, so Mario, these are the three. There was like one each episode that they kind of tried to like sneak in.
Yeah.
One was a mozzarella milkshake.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Real
there was
gross. Right to your heart.
a pepperoni cheesecake.
I'd eat that actually. I'm okay
Yeah,
with that.
you would.
Yeah, I would.
That makes sense.
I would.
This next one is something that I would actually eat, which is garlic ice cream.
Yeah, that's the one where he looks right at the camera.
Yeah,
Well, this was so what? He just rescued the princess. She's like, "I'll do anything for you, Mario. What do you want?" And he's like, "Seven things."
like a garlic ice cream. You're just like, all right, well,
Okay, yeah, well, you want it, you got it.
seems
Slap it.
easy, buddy.
Yeah.
And then those were the gross foods.
Right.
The insults that they lobbed back and forth, and there were a lot. I
There were
only
a
wrote
lot.
down a couple.
Yeah.
There is a lasagna loving losers.
Yep.
Pepperoni plumber.
Yep.
Macaroni mouth.
Yep.
Drain drips.
Yep, that's one.
Budinsky buddies, which I don't get.
I don't know.
get
I'm not
it. I don't
touching
get
that
it.
one.
I don't get it. Drano brains.
I like that's my favorite, Drano
That-
Brains.
well, here
Because
comes
that's
my
branding.
favorite.
That's branding. Yeah.
Yeah, Drano brains was pretty good, but here was my favorite was pipe squeaks.
Ooh, pipe
Not
squeaks.
Pipe squeaks.
Pipe squeaks. I like that.
Pipe
I don't think I heard that one, but
Oh,
I'm
that
sticking
killed
with
me.
I'm sticking with
Oh,
Drano
King
Brains.
Koopa, you are a comedic genius.
King of laughs, right there, King Koopa.
Oh boy.
Little barrel of laughs.
King of laughs, yeah. There you go.
No, I like some of the commercial break stuff just because they were so bad and so cheesy and just so just cringe-inducing. So, like the one with Nicole Eggert where they keep messing her up and they keep making a disaster out of everything. They're just like, "We've gotten ourselves in a real mess. Stay tuned." It doesn't make any sense. It's just real easy. The creepy one was this. This one made me cringe. While Mario finds something else to ruin Nicole's clothes, watch this. And that's how they throw you back to the cartoon after a commercial break, which I don't know what happened to that poor girl while the cartoon was playing. Nothing good. I'm telling you, nothing good happened to her.
She realized her acting career was coming to an end.
Yeah,
and
it was
just
at its
needed to
peak.
roll with the punches.
It was at its peak.
She's gonna
right
be
there.
on season 2 of Serial.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
That
God.
murder-suicide. Oh, no. It's just the words pasta power written all over her apartment. And,
Oh
And
god,
lipstick.
so
Oh,
uncomfortable.
yeah, it's so uncomfortable.
I need an adult.
Well, I'm following it up with this last one
Yeah.
from them. Stay tuned. The Sloppy Mario Brothers will return. That was an actual thing that was said. Oh, that's...
Hopefully the pasta power was written in a tomato-based sauce and
Yeah,
not,
I'm sure it was.
well, we'll just leave it there.
We'll just
Oh,
leave it at
boy.
that. Yeah.
Oh,
There's just
God.
a half-eaten carton of garlic ice cream just melting on the kitchen counter.
Yeah.
When they found her body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Moving on.
So moving on,
Yeah.
we talked about the idea that each one of these episodes references like a movie or
Right,
like a
right,
pop
right.
culture idea.
That's the closest thing they get to a plot in any of these.
Right.
Right.
It seemed like for episode 2, it was very much King Arthur themed
Yep,
because they were
100%.
they were in Cramelot instead of Camelot.
Wow.
There was a Jewish wizard called
Forgot about
Mervin.
it. Yeah.
Mervin instead of Merlin,
Right.
and instead of a sword, it was also sort of like a sword in the stone because
it was the plunger from the tub. Yeah.
correct.
And then
And
the
then
lady
there
in
was
the
a-
lake. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yep.
Lady in the Lake throwing Excalibur, which was a plumbing snake.
Yeah, sure was.
Mario.
Yeah.
So that was I don't really. That was episode 2. Episode 3 was more of a
It was the
kind of a
Western.
Wild West,
Yeah.
like a spaghetti Western. Spaghetti Western.
Hilarious.
I
Spaghetti
just,
Western, there it is.
There it is.
Ha
just realized what I fucking said. God. Oh, no.
That's funnier than anything this show has done so far, so that's fine.
So there is a Western portion to this, which is kind of fun. But
Yeah, I
you know,
like seeing that
it's-
the cactus thing out there. That was always one of my favorite kind of creatures from the games.
yeah.
So I like seeing that out there. That was cool.
So it's the oldest trick in the book where the villain puts a bounty out on the hero's head as a way of, trying to get other people to do their dirty work for them. And that's really the whole point of the third episode. I don't know what the first episode really had in terms of like a plot structure. It was just kind of like nothing. Okay,
Just
cool.
introducing everybody because it was like, hey, I'm the princess.
Did
and,
it?
Hey, I'm Toad. And hey, here's King Koopa. And here's a Fire Flower. And here's Super Mario. And that's it. Thanks for watching. We're going to go just feel up Nicole Eggert back here in our plumber den.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the other thing. So we mentioned that at the beginning of the show, but like this weird meta thing where it's like you walk in, you meet the live action Super Mario Brothers, Mario and Luigi, and then they throw it to themselves as an animated version that has a different adventure, but it's kind of like, is this like a throwback to when they were younger and not old and decrepit and arthritic and living in Brooklyn? It was just strange. Just strange to me. The whole thing was just very, very odd and kind of surreal, which is why I
And
actually liked it. Yeah.
And it's never explained. Like
No.
there's never like, hey, like we got, because they posit the idea that they got trapped in the Mushroom Kingdom,
Right.
and they're trying to find their way out.
Right.
But they're also trying to do the right thing and rescue, Princess Toadstool and all of the Toadstool Kingdom, all the Mushroom Kingdom, excuse me,
Right.
from King Koopa. And so they're going through this process of doing all this work, but like you don't really understand why. Like at least in the 3 episodes that we watched, there's no sort of intro like the first time that they get there. Kind of like, as we mentioned, sort of like the meet and greet, for episode 1 of getting the characters. Like there's no real origin story that you're given in that first episode. It's just kind of like, hey, we're here and we're doing stuff.
Yep,
You're
we're
like
jumping
all right.
around. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I get it. I played this game. I'm fair enough.
Yeah, I think that was their intro. They were just like, oh, millions of people have played this game, so we can just jump right into this. So,
Right.
do you guys have anything else from the show before we head into the recommendations and close
I
it up for
have
the night?
one final thing.
Shoot, what you got?
All right.
Oh no, go ahead,
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Matt. What's up?
I was going to say the live action is abysmal yet comical in the right view.
Yeah.
But the cartoon itself, like, it has a good comedic aspect to it, especially if you played the games, when they came out on original NES and then Super Mario Brothers 2. It's got a good like nostalgia quality to it. So.
Yeah, none of this
I mean, I'll
hipster
just leave
bullshit
it at
playing it
that.
on your iPad. You had to go back and play the original
Yeah,
to get it.
and
That's
it's real classic. And the sound effects got tired, but for 3 episodes, I was like, what, they tied it in pretty well.
Fair enough. Sean, what else you got on this one tonight?
The one thing that we sort of teased and hinted at is that there are a lot of moments in the live action where they kind of meta look to the audience and they're just like, hey, maybe in the meantime, we should tease the upcoming scenes from this week's Legend of Zelda. And you're just like,
a commercial for a video game for a cartoon made off a video game.
God, it is
Also,
wonderful.
when they teased the Legend of Zelda, when they described the existence of 2 Triforces, shouldn't there be 3 Triforces?
He was just going after.
It's a fucking Triforce.
In one of them,
That's
Ganon's just
right.
going after the Triforce of Wisdom. So I don't know if he's going after the other 2 as well, but I guess we'll have to watch it and find out.
And that was the confusing thing, is that, Matt, you are correct.
Indeed we shall.
There is Legend of Zelda. There is Princess Zelda typically has the Triforce of Wisdom. Ganon has the Triforce of Power.
Right.
And I believe Link has the Triforce of Courage. But they only really hint at 2 of the 3, and so you're just kind of like, what is going on here?
That is my least of my
That's
concerns
the
for
least
this
of your
show because holy shit, this show just looks like such a mess. But much like
Certainly the
Super
least of
Mario
my
Brothers
worries.
Super Show was a show that advertised another show on their show, we will be doing that at the end of our show. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Mr. Matt Barron, do you recommend Super Mario Brothers Super Show?
I do. I would say check out the first 3 episodes, especially if you grew up in the, mid to late 80s, early 90s sort of frame when the, original NES Mario Brothers and then the later Super Mario Brothers 3 on the Super Nintendo was out.
Right.
You're a prime time for this show to be relevant,
well, I
not
will-
necessarily entertaining, but relevant.
I'm gonna fact check you right now. Super Mario Brothers 3 came out for the NES, Matt.
Ooh.
It was Super
did
Mario.
it.
Super Mario World came out for the Super Nintendo.
Indeed, because it had I remember that. Which was the one that
Well,
had
you know
Super
what?
Mario Brothers 3 was at the end, the end of the movie? Was it the Wizard?
That was the Wizard.
Yeah, fuck yeah, Wizard. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go check out
With,
the Wizard.
Jenny Lewis and Fred Savage.
Fred Savage, another Wonder Years throwback.
Correct.
Yeah, it's all tied together through warp tubes, warp pipes, and whistles, and foxtails. It's good stuff.
Dave, I'm gonna recommend this show as
Okay,
well.
all right. So you're not getting free
I
pizza
think-
for the rest of the world. That's fine.
I think if you could get a smash cut of just the Captain Lou
Yeah,
Albano live action segments
Yeah.
and just get rid of the cartoon segments,
we can do it.
I'd be super cool with this show.
We have the
I
power
think-
here. We'll get our intern to do it.
right.
Hey, intern, listen up. Take that ball gag out of your mouth. You got a job to do.
What?
Wait, what? No, everything's cool. It's fine, guys. Back to
boy.
the show. Yeah, we're going to a sloppy party. Everything's fine. No free
Right.
pizza for you.
Dave, how are you feeling about this show?
I'm going to recommend it too, but ironically, because it's
Oh.
not good, but it's so not good that you have to go back and check it out. Whether you watch it when you were a kid or you've never seen it, I'm going to recommend checking it out just because it's so weird, man. I mean, that rap at the beginning, having the guys kind of like old man shuffle across the stage while the cartoon's playing in the background, it's just, there's so much weirdness to it. It looks like it was shot on like a public access television soundstage somewhere. And it's just so bad, but so good at the same time. So check it out. You can find it on YouTube. Take a look. So we're actually 3 for 3 on this one.
Yeah,
2
wow.
and 3/4 because mine was ironic.
Check it
but that's
out.
fine.
And this is exciting because this is our month of video games.
Yeah,
So
it's just the first.
Yeah, I wish Month of Video Games had a better branding title, but we are discussing all video game related cartoons for the rest of this month for the next 3 episodes.
Right.
And so if you enjoyed Super Mario Brothers, we have some fun ones coming up in the next 3 weeks.
Heck yeah, we do. And if you guys like this, if you like talking about it, if you have a lot more suggestions for it, feel free to send us your suggestions. We definitely have a lot that we want to cover in general with the cartoons, specifically for the video game ones as well. So obviously for the next couple of weeks, we're going to hit kind of the major ones. This might be one of the biggest ones. But we'll get to them. No worries. Let us know. Speaking of letting us know, Mr. Matt Barron, where can the folks find you on social media if you want to let them know?
At Bag of Sandwiches never changes.
Excellent. Do you have any fan fiction up and ready to go?
No,
Awesome.
despite Sean's previous, plugging for my fan fiction that does not exist, it doesn't exist.
Fair
so.
enough. Fair enough. Sean Paul Ellis, what do you have coming
Over
up in
to
the next
you,
couple of
Sean.
weeks?
Well, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Sean Paul Ellis. You can come and see me if you're in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area on April 11th. I'll be at the Source Theater as a part of the FIST, which is the Fighting Improv Smackdown tournament of shows. I will be performing around 4 p.m. That'll be like the semifinals for the show, so it'll be a packed house, and it'll be a lot of fun. So you can find tickets online at witdc.org. And hey, if you're up in Boston on April 22nd, I will be up there for the Women in Comedy Festival.
You won't just be up there for the women?
I won't be up there for the women.
Boy, oh boy.
I'll be up there for the Women in Comedy Festival. I wrote a short film. I helped write a short film as a collaborative effort with some friends of mine, and then we filmed it and submitted it, and we've won some awards here in DC, and it was accepted into this festival, and so we're going to be up there for one night only, and Dave will post links. I think tickets are like $12.
Not bad at all.
But come out, and they're going to screen all of the movies, all the short films that were written during that time, and they're going to vote on and award a winner. Also, if you are on YouTube, congratulations. That's an achievement in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I've been working with a group called Crowded Elevator, and we just won it's Project Greenlight's first annual Greenie Awards for the best comedy, which is called The Heist, and we actually just found out about that today.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you can watch that online too
on
at
Reddit.
Project Greenlight's YouTube account too. I checked it out; it's pretty damn funny. So you can head on
Yeah.
over there and watch the award-winning short.
Yes.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. Sir.
we're very excited to get the news today. So
Very nice. Happy day.
yeah, thank you, man. Hey, Dave, where can I find you on the internet?
If you're digging around on Twitter, you can find me at Dr. Claw MD. And if you like watching television shows like, I don't know, Gotham, The Flash, Arrow, The Walking Dead, many of which are just about done, I recap them over at Collider.com and Collider.com/TV. So come on over and pay me a visit and drop us a line. If you want to drop us a line for Saturday morning cartoons, you can check us out at SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. Remember, that's morning with a U. Send us an email, let us know how we're doing. SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. You can also check out our Tumblr account with Sean's handiwork there, SaturdayMorningCartoons.tumblr.com. You can follow us along on Twitter at MorningTunes. Now, Sean kind of teased what we've got coming up next week. I'm going to let him tell you, just to remind you, what we've actually got coming up so you know the next video game series adaptation we'll be watching.
Well, we're very excited. We are going to be jumping into the land of Hyrule to swing some swords towards our villain and enemy, Ganon. So we are going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda, which will be fun that we get a chance to watch more of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. But we're going to be watching the Friday episodes that have all Legend of Zelda. So we're going to be watching episodes 5, 10, and 15
Oh, no.
of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
I got to tell you, man, I'm hooked on the brothers.
Oh, I'm excited, and I believe we have a special guest next week too. So
We do indeed.
I am.
We do indeed. We'll keep that
I
secret.
am excited to have. I believe I'm going to spoil this. We have Ms. Allison Keene,
Secret's
who's
out.
going to be coming back and joining us to talk about Legend of Zelda.
She's going to be our own little princess on the show.
Oh boy,
Yeah,
can't wait.
I'm allowed to say that. Everything's fine.
Um,
Yeah. Hey, Sean, do you want to do the do you want to do the Mario to take us out tonight?
I've been thinking about this, and so if you are not familiar with the Mario, it is the outro song, and it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
The
it is
most awkward
swing
thing you've
your.
ever seen? Okay.
It is swing your hips from side to side.
It's arms, but that's fine.
It is okay.
got
Swing
arms.
your arms from side to side. Come on, everybody, and do the Mario.
I mean, that's
Correct?
it's pretty close. It's not the lyrics I have in front of me, but just go with it. Do your own Mario.
With that. So, Dave, if we were to
close
come
enough
up
for
with,
horseshoes and hand grenades, buddy.
if we were to come up with our own Dave Trumbore song, Dave, what would the Dave Trumbore song be?
Do the Trumbore. So I got to do the Trumbore.
Yeah, if we were to do the Trumbore, what would the do the Trumbore be?
I would say get real sad and just lay down. Then order Chinese food and watch Orange is the New Black.
Oh God!
Then pay your taxes.
Swing
Hey, do
your
the
lanky
Trumbore.
arms from
Yeah.
side to side.
Get real sad and just lay down. Yeah, that works out pretty well.
Get real sad and just lay down your day from bar, and it's almost over.
Yeah, gentlemen, the show is keeping me alive. Thanks for listening to Saturday Morning Cartoons. We'll see you next time.
Oh god.